Hello, I'm the Dark Master, and welcome to my new video series. As you're probably aware, animated television shows based on video games have a little bit of infamy for their less than stellar quality. Bagel. However, despite this one show I grew up with that still holds up is Kirby Right Back At Ya, or as it's known in its native Japanese, Hoshi no Kabi. This action-packed series is the only 4Kids anime I remember consistently watching. I was always more of a Cartoon Network person. I love this series and intend to make this the most in-depth retrospective ever on the series. Today's subject, if it's not obvious, is the unreleased pilot. Before we start, let me lay down the ground rules for this retrospective. Number one, I'll be using the English dub, not only because it's my favorite and it's what I grew up with and am most familiar with. It gives me more opportunity to talk about the changes with regard to the various versions. Also, number two, most of my subscribers are from English-speaking countries, and I don't think they'd be very entertained by video clips that they couldn't possibly understand. Now, without further ado, let's start. Now, the whole sub versus dub debate isn't really needed for this pilot, as there's absolutely no voice acting. Not that it was really needed. Its story is much more simple than the actual anime itself, and the background is actually far more interesting than the pilot's plot itself. You see, the pilot was created in 2000, a mere year before the release of the official anime. How much a year can change, eh? It was released in July 11th, 2003 in a Japanese-only special Kirby DVD found in a magazine to celebrate the release of the Kirby Air Ride video game. Back to the story, let's finally start the actual recap of the pilot. I want to stress it's only 4 minutes 27 seconds long, so even though I've squeezed and packed all the information I could about this pilot into this video, it's far shorter than future episodes of this retrospective will be. Anyway, the opening screen is all Japanese except the word pilot. I guess they just really wanted to be as blunt as possible, or maybe there isn't a Japanese word for pilot. Oh wait, I looked it up and there's multiple of them. So really, I have no idea why only that word's in English. The actual plot starts with Kirby entering Popstar's atmosphere, asleep on the warp star drifting harmlessly through space. At least until he happens to catch on fire! His landing caused him to bump into the second main character of the pilot. Now, officially, this girl's name is unstated. However, a popular fan theory is that this represents an early prototype for Teeth. And I can see it, as it shares the same skin color, eye shape, and basic body design. There are differences, like how she's completely naked, which, would definitely not fly outside of Japan, as well as the fact that she wears a tiara. But we'll get back to that in a bit. I'll call her Proto-Tiff for the rest of this video. Anyway, after a brief scuffle with Proto-Tiff getting annoyed at Kirby, the pink puffball wins her over with his lovable charm. Either that or Kirby has absolutely no idea what Proto-Tiff is saying and just laughs maniacally until she relents and decides to fly off for a day of fun with him. 2 points. Kirby's appearance is much more simple than in the series, more resembling his Kirby Adventure sprite than his updated look in more recent sprite-based games. 2, he floats without inhaling, and so does Teeth, which is kind of odd. Overall, there's a lot more flying in this anime than is ever seen in the TV show itself. But the flying isn't done quite well, and I can kind of understand why they would cut back on it in the main series. After all, if the main character can fly endlessly, it kind of does undermine some of the levels of threat. The two fly peacefully until King DDD notices them and decides to try to ruin their day. Why exactly? Well, it's unknown, but due to the proto-thief's tiara, some have speculated that he is the girl's father and he doesn't want Kirby to be with her. Now, I don't know what's more disturbing, the fact that King DDD slept with someone, or the fact that he pulls out a freaking machine gun to gun down Kirby with either his own daughter or just a random innocent child in the way.
That's not right!
Luckily, King DDD's incompetence fails him and the gun explodes right in his face, which resembles the Kirby 64 appearance, with a crown instead of a white bauble. He also doesn't have gloves on, so he probably got splinters when he tries to crush Kirby with a wooden spike, only to miss and anger a gigantic reptile of some sort. Now, knowing a bit about biology, that reptile should be dead because it landed right in his brain, but apparently it may or may not have attacked him. The king's third attempt at least only targets Kirby.
A man has fallen into the river in Lego City.
The final attempt sees our lovable king try to build a bomb that not only has a TNT logo on it, but also a skull and crossbones as well. Did he pirate the TNT? Well, maybe that's why the bomb explodes prematurely, and the king lands next to Kirby. Bearing no ill will due to ignorance, the pink puffball gives the king a freshly cooked sausage. DDD then erupts into tears for being so mean, and everything seems to finally have come to peace. But then, a shadowy cloud of darkness emerges and releases 5 subclouds that summon monsters. The first wave includes Captain Stitch. No, not that one. Think more of a sea urchin that originally appeared in Kirby Dream Land 2. The second smoke tendril summons Meta Knight, who is markedly different than in the true anime. Firstly, here Meta Knight is just an enemy, while in the show he's more of a Mexican accented mentor for Kirby. The sword lacks the spikes that represent Galaxia, and he is using his wings that he never uses again in the anime. The third smoke tentacle summons the Ice Dragon, who also appears in the anime at a later date. The fourth smoke cloud brings forth dark matter, a cousin of mine. The fifth cloud produces Master Green, who is actually green here as opposed to his original appearance, in which he was orange-yellow. Seriously, why would you call him Mr. Green if in the games he's actually orange? Kirby, determined to protect his friends, inhales Captain Stitch and spits him right back at ya, Meta Knight. Knocking the two out, Kirby then swallows Ice Dragon, who appears to barely have any powers and becomes Ice Kirby. And here we see the first ability of the anime. Unlike in the show, Kirby doesn't transform. Rather, Kirby just uses the power. Again, this is very similar to Kirby's Adventure, as opposed to later games. After giving Dark Matter the cold shoulder, Kirby then inhales Mr. Green and uses the Spark ability to electrocute a horrifying array of new enemies, including Blocky, a third enemy from the games, Eferet, a strange shadow enemy that's named after an Islamic demon, Sweet Stuff, an anglerfish that is not very sweet, I can tell you that, as having played the games, and a living broom called Habuki. And let's not forget the most horrifying Kirby enemy of all time, Mr. P. Umpkin. You know, originally I was going to make a joke, but that name is so bad it's actually good. So I'm actually, that's pretty clever. Kirby and the gang are triumphant and charge forward, but all is not well as Well, a shadowy figure then catches the trio with ease, which raises the question as why he sent all those horrible minions who are completely incompetent. In the pilot, he resembles Nightmare, an enemy from Kirby's Adventure, but more of his original appearance. A fun fact, Nightmare is the only character in the anime where his retooled appearance actually affected the games as opposed to the other way around. You see, I really do think he looks better in the new look. I mean, the old look was kind of cool, but it really looked more like Waluigi in a weird cape. Here, I don't know, the horns make him look better. But wait, the entire ordeal was just a dream! The pilot ends with Kirby awakening as the camera pans out and fades to black. Was that the real Nightmare or a figment of imagination? Is this a pilot actually a prologue to the series itself? All questions that will never be answered because Nintendo doesn't care about this anime. So that's it. How was the pilot overall? Well, the lack of dialogue really only harms one scene, that being the initial interaction between Kirby and Tuff. The rest of the time, the animation conveys the mood and plot very well. Speaking of the animation, the mixture of 3D and 2D animation is much rougher than the anime proper, but still looks fine. The painted backgrounds look absolutely beautiful, and it's unfortunate that I couldn't find many screenshots of them without the characters in them, because I would definitely use that for more backgrounds in my videos. Overall, the 2D drawn characters like Nightmare and the enemies are also pretty good. I don't really have much to say about them, except that I wish they appeared in the anime proper. The music is freaking beautiful. It just works so well with the upbeat themes of Kirby and the girl playing around, then the kind of oafy drums that portray DDD as an idiot, or even the Nightmare theme that appears when the monsters and Nightmare shows up. Though I will say the ending theme wasn't all that good. The ending theme where Nightmare catches them, it seemed kind of weird. Anyway, this is pretty good. Now, is it worth watching this pilot? Well, yeah. It's 4 minutes 27 seconds long, and who doesn't have that much time in this pandemic where you can't leave your house? Don't try to find the DVD, though. I have, and it is far too expensive. Plus, you can find it for free on YouTube and Dailymotion, so why would you even bother trying to buy it? I bought it because I'm an idiot and I love Kirby, but Hope you enjoyed the video. There will be 101 following it. Next time, we shall be covering the first episode of the series proper. I'm the Dark Master, and if you like this video, like it, but if you loved it, consider subscribing to see more of it. Also, I think it's about time I improved my look. After all the characters in this pilot changed their looks for the series proper, and I think I should do that as well. Time to go beyond my MS Paint form. See you guys next time.